Bobby is the one that got Cardo, the producer Cardo and Boi-1da, who are two dope producers. Got them doing some tweeting because there was a video that he shared, basically dragging producers, and some of the stuff that he pointed out was, why do producers always have 54 people on the song? If you're gonna have that many people on there, and I'm paraphrasing here, why y'all charging 8 to 10 G's for beats? I'm independent. I made but he also says I made $500,000 this year, but he's complaining about paying for beats and paying producers. And in a collaborative era, which we've all talked about, you're gonna have people that might play bass, might play, strings or whatever. I'm sure his music probably is not gonna have strings. If I was to guess, could be sample clearance.
He might like a song with strings in it.
I mean, it could. Y'all find it, let me know. I will stand corrected. But I'm tired of seeing producers get picked on because I don't know what artists want producers to do. On one hand, you say, why are y'all charging $8,000 to $10,000 for a beat? And in the same video, you're saying I already made $500,000 this year, so it can't be that hard out there. So I was confused by this, and Cardo jumped in, and he starts tweeting. He says, rappers saying producers overpricing their beats shows that we don't have any respect, which I agree with. He says we have to make you pay more every time because you're trying to lowball us. And I'm paraphrasing here, for the $2,500 beats. He goes to talk about how he's got mouths to feed, but they end up having to take it. So Lone, I'm coming to you because you're a producer. Very good one.
Thanks.
What's the deal with the artists complaining about the producers, but wanting high quality beats? Because Cardo and Boi-1da are top tier legit producers.
I mean, I don't look, if they cost too much, then go find somebody else.
Thank you.
That's really the end of what I would say. Because unless you really want to work for it, they dictate their own price. So, I mean, at the same time, there is more collaboration going on. So there is more spread of the wealth of money. Like if I do a beat with you and the 𝗀𝗲𝗱, right? We split it 3 ways or whatever. But that does that to my what I would say is I don't really think that should dictate price too much though.
The collaboration part.
Are you going to pay more for a J1 beat by himself versus J1 with 4 other producers on it? Nah, probably not. You wouldn't want to do that. I don't know. I feel like at the end of the, just to kind of keep it short, I just think that it's the producers get to dictate the price because it's their work and their material. And if you don't like the price, then go find another producer that can make something closer to your budget, because there are plenty of really dope producers that can, and you just got to find them.
And he's saying
lots of them.
And he's saying I ain't giving expletives no $10,000, $8,000 for a producer song. Who told y'all to have 10 people on the song anyway? So
I don't think people are foaming out the mouth to get a beat to Bobby Shmurda anyway.
That's a good point.
I mean, because you have to consider the fact that depending on the artist, sometimes they may waive that fee until they see how your record does and collect on the back end of it. But somebody like Bobby Shmurda, I mean, he's in a position where he could get up and coming producers and try to put them on. I mean, he's literally famous off of an up and coming producer, right? His most popular track.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he use that same energy and formula to keep going? Because he's not really a sought after artist like that.
I mean, the 2 names that he named, it's like those are high level
they
producers
hot right now.
And he's talking $8,000 to $10,000 per beat. I can see both.
I think they charge more than that.
That's
way more than that.
So I don't really think that that's super crazy. So I don't know. In this particular aspect, you don't find somebody else. There's plenty of producers out there that work with you for free.
And see, I think sometimes artists, I know you want to get the name and have access to the name, but you don't want to pay for what comes with it. And it goes, but you have to pay for what you get. And you can't have Cardo and Boi-1da listed as a producer, Boi-1da listed as producers, but charge them $2,500 off the strength. Or
that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. It just doesn't work that way.
Unless you have some sort of larger percentage built into the
back end
mechanical licensing, as well as the regular publishing aspect. Maybe you give the producer more closer to 50% as opposed to nothing or 10%, you know, like if you split it 50-50, then, you know, maybe, you know, but then it's just, again, it just depends on the producer and what he's okay with doing, balancing the value of the situation. And if he looks at you and says, nah, where I'm at right now, I don't have a batch of beats to give you for this price. So you know, to me, it's on the producer to just dictate that. And the artist is
either take it or you don't.
Yeah. Or move on.
Yeah. Somebody will take it. I have learned that. Somebody will take it. What you think, Jay Moore?
Well, you know, okay, just because I'm not particularly good at math, I like, you know, solid numbers. Like, say a track is $10,000.
Right.
You know, are you upset because more than one person worked on the 10,000? You know, you're still spending the same $10,000. Are you upset because there's 5 people that worked on your $10,000 beat? Is that what he's saying, or is
I think
it?
he's
think he's trying to say that
it's
they're
driving the
charging.
price.
It's
up.
driving the
Yeah,
price.
it's driving. Yeah,
Well,
it's driving
I
the
mean, and I
price.
think part of the shock is Bobby Shmurda is now independent, as opposed to when he had
There we go.
a label machine behind him. And, you know, when he was like, all right, just cut the check, you know, we'll take care of it. You know, that'll come out of my advance or whatever.
Producer budget.
You know, now that this is you know, everybody talks about the strength of independence and how great it is to be independent and be an entrepreneur. But this is part of the game when you're going to go down that road. Everything, you have to pay for everything up front with the hope that what it does become something that you can monetize and tour with, and you can make that money back on, you know, literally the back end.
Right.
You know, so this is the thing. A lot of artists become spoiled, you know, once they've been through that major label system and they see, you know, because of my name, I can just get out here and throw something up on YouTube and hit it on streaming. And it works for some people, I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, like there's about 100 things you do not have to worry about when you have, you know, an A&R, you have your record reps, you have all these people who are working on your behalf. Now, it costs money where, you know, you're seeing so much come out up front that you may not see anything on the back end other than your touring money. But I think this is where a lot of artists, they get spoiled by the major label system. They get out here on their own and they're like, wait a minute, I have to cut these checks. You know, they haven't.
Nori talks about it often as far as how he went what's called independent versus him being
on Def
behind
Jam
a Def
or-
Jam machine
or Penalty or
and
wherever.
how much more work it was for him to do it the independent way. So
Yeah, because you're the one that has to call these radio stations. You're the one who has to get on a plane and, you know, and go sit down with program directors or get on the phone. And, you know, chances are at this point, like once you're on an independent, you're so far behind because they have to take care of all their major label relationships.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, this is just Bobby Shmurda having to come to the realization that being independent, while you can reap an incredible reward in the long run if you do it the right way and you take care of your business, you know, if you're just looking at the short game, you may spend, you know, $500,000. Don't get me wrong. That puts you in the top 1% or 4%. I can't remember. It shifts because of inflation, bad stock market, whatever.
Right.
But you know that still puts you in a high tier earner, and like everybody in this room would be happy to have $500,000, you know, in a year. But you know,
you're in him over.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you're talking about, okay, I'm the one that has to pay for these dinners. I'm the one that has to pay for producers. I'm the one that pays for studio time.
It hit a little bit different.
You know, like your $500,000, then you got a life to maintain on top of that, and all this is coming out
of New York. So New York is a different.
And all this is coming out at the same time. You got to look out for family and friends. Your $500,000, and plus you know, it goes in. You made $500,000, but you only keeping half.
Yeah.
So you start seeing $2,500. You be like, well, that's actually a decent percent of what I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not at 1%, but still.
Right.
You know, when you think about spending 1% on one track and then you haven't eaten yet, it can start to get to you. And I can see where he's frustrated, but this is the game he chose.
Something that jumped out to me was just Cardo talking about. I got the sense that he's been they're getting shortchanged a lot as going through his tweets, which is weird to me for guys of this stature. I think people would just, you know what you're getting when you come to them, and we're going to pay the fee and just make a hit record. So
everybody ain't got that Kanye Jay-Z money. So,
man, and it's to hear them going through that too, it just goes to what he said about the value of the producer. And people will try to shortchange producers clearly on any level. That's what this shows.
Get on SoundClick or whatever it is. All these producers are trying to, whatever it is. I don't know, because I can't remember where.
BeatStars is one, yeah.
Where Lil Nas X, he found the beat to Old Town Road.
Yeah.
You know, and.
Get on TikTok.
Yeah, and found it. And, I mean, the dude who produced it, you know, he got his money. They got their paperwork together.
Yeah.
But. You know, he wasn't a name. Who was Lil Nas X to be asking for beats and asking for discounts and like they're overcharging me?
That dude is very happy now, though.
Yeah, the thing is like right now, there's not a shortage of access and artists and producers out there. Like if everything is so easy to find, and there's an abundance of everything. So like,
I mean, his position he's in, he can literally get on one of these social media platforms and say, "Send me beats."
Yep.
Send me
we'll
your
be
fire.
flooded with beats.
Yep. He can come. He put out an album for $12,000.
Yep.
What'd you say, Lone? That's
Whole
all it's
album.
gonna take.
I mean,
he's not lying.
He's not.
There'd be somebody to be so happy to get $1,000 for a beat right now.
yeah.
Come on,
But I
man.
think artists also are scared to take that risk for the unknown guy that sends the heat.
50 Cent was
Why?
was his formula for a while.
Where would the fear even come from? Because
I think the fear comes from not having a name attached to it, even though the record is hot. I
So
think
They
that's
don't
what
need
they think.
that though.
so then you're banking on somebody else's.
yeah, they
No,
don't need
Somebody
that.
else's clout.
No, what I think artists do that. I think people reach out to Premier and Pete Rock because of their names and
Well,
they
for
make
sure.
dope stuff.
For sure.
But with the upcoming producer, it's like, okay, nobody really knows this guy or girl, but they got heat. So it's like,
So where is your weight that you're pulling though behind? Where is your carriage? I mean, because you have to bring something to the table as well.
I would think so.
So if I'm in a position like Bobby Shmurda, then I'm absolutely going to find somebody up and coming because that might be the person that I end up working with. I mean, just like what's his name? Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Hit Boy didn't just start out with
Being Hit Boy.
You know what I'm saying? He had to start somewhere, and now he's like Nas's go-to guy.
Go-to.
So why don't you find your go-to guy, or find a handful of go-to people,
Make them hot.
and kind of hone your sound and go from there?
That's how you
Versus
should do it.
wanting to use people that are already on and then complaining about their prices. Because I mean, they got to a point and are charging that for a reason.
Right. Good point about 50 too. I've always loved that about 50. That he would, no matter who made it, if it was dope, he had enough confidence
Yeah,
in
at the end of the
himself.
day, if it's a
bring
dope
somebody
beat,
else
who
up. It's
cares
dope.
who made it?
Yeah.
That's the name. Like name power really doesn't mean anything. I mean it can. Like don't get me wrong, like if you have a big producer that you work with on like a single or something, but if you're putting a project together, you know, who's really going to look at the credits except for like the heads and the fans, you know what I mean? So it's
That's a
like
good
That's a new
That's a
thing.
good
Like
point,
back in the
Lon.
day, you didn't hear
Good point.
the producers and stuff screaming their names all over track. You would have heard what's his name all over Thriller and Off the Wall. Quincy Jones would have been name dropping
QJ on the track.
Come on, the whole time. These are diamond albums.
yeah.
Yeah. And to Lone's point about the heads, I used to love reading the credits. So
Yeah, but you can't read the credits on the radio. They're
Can't? They don't even have them
cares?
anymore now. Like you
can read them on title.
Is it on title? They have
Yes,
them on title. Okay. Shout out to title.
I just think you build it yourself, man. I like you need your. I still think there's a place for like finding your guys, finding your people. You know, like find the artists that you want to work with. You want to chase placements. Of course, I'm talking about this in reverse, but
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know.
but like just find your people. If you're a rapper, find yourself some go-tos. You know, like that will cut you a little bit of a break, and that you can, you know, build a sound with, and do
you might
something with.
you might build up and turn into a TDE, a Soundwave and
Or-
Kendrick.
Yeah, and you could, you know, while it happens, maybe that producer it gets really good and starts blowing up and helps you. You know? So
Look at 40 and Drake. How long they been together?
yeah, nobody knew 40 before Drake.
I didn't.
Nah.
I did.
Does 40 even produce for anybody else?
I don't,
Does he
I don't
need
even
to?
know if he
He
needs to.
doesn't need to, but
I don't
Yeah.
even know. I've only seen his name attached to Drake.
That's
So,
where
I mean, I don't-
that's where I found out about him. Yeah. So to Lone's point, it can't happen if you build with your crew. Carday's like that. He's got kids from Chicago that he's Corday, I'm sorry. He's got kids from Chicago. They came up together, produced all over his last project.
Well, and plus Bobby Shmurda's under some real pressure because he's been out of jail for a minute now.
Yeah.
He put out that song on when he was still on the label with 𝗀𝗲𝗱 or whatever, and that
I don't think that
that arrived. That was dead on arrival.
Yeah.
Because I played it in the club one time, during a little workout period on Saturday, and that was it.
That was it.
And so
he's
like
literally viral for dancing now.
Yeah. So now he's probably under a little bit of pressure because it's like, okay, when you don't have a hit record and everybody's already welcomed you home from prison, you got to show and prove. You know what I'm saying? So he's got to get something out there because it's easy to be. Oh yeah, remember Bobby Shmurda?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He better sell one of them necklaces.
Yeah, so he's got to get some. He needs a feature. He needs something for the summertime because it comes and goes very, very quickly.
This is true.
And for right now, that's probably why he's frustrated because it's going.